Hey guys, this is Mauisnake going over Qikert, the 19-year-old Kazakhstan player for Team AVANGAR. So Qikert in the 2017 year posted a 1.18 rating with about plus 500 in the kill-death ratio column. His teammates, none of them actually even had worse than a 1.0 rating. The thing about their ratings though is similar to Quantum Bellator Fire's team. Many of the teams they played were in a pretty low tier of Counter-Strike. They weren't playing against teams like FaZe or SK on a regular basis, so a 1.18 rating for Qikert, although good amongst his region, clearly does not hold up to a professional in the top tiers of Counter-Strike that is posting up the same rating. So going into this upcoming ELEAGUE Major, can't really expect a 1.18 rating to hold consistent given the level of competition that he's soon to face. Without further ado though, here we are with a player analysis of Qikert. So the demo that I'm going to be going over is in the winners semifinals of the CIS Minor against Quantum Bellator Fire. And just as I had profiled before, they're going to be playing against Boomich. And yes, I am trying to correct myself on the pronunciation of that name. I know many of you guys commented that it is not Boombla, as I said before, trying to read it phonetically, but here we are with Qikert. So Quikert's route through the B bomb site is going to be right through the middle of it, and he's going to peek right into JMQA's crosshair there. I want to briefly go over the routes that you can take while you enter the B bomb site here, and what a lot of pros favor, and what Qikert did, and how that is different. So what a lot of pros will do when they run through the B bomb site is the first players will jump out of the window and strafe across the left side of the bomb site. This allows you to do a really clean sweep of the site and just kind of clear everyone out pretty easily. There aren't many angles you'll miss here. Whereas if you run out on the right side, you're going to be running straight into the crosshair of any player that's posted up over here for market. And the middle position, though, is something that just should kind of catch CTs off guard. This isn't normally the entry position, but if you are going to clear out the bomb site, running through the middle can sometimes help you trade a frag that otherwise would kind of be a lineup for the USP user if they were to play right here. If they are able to kill the first guy right here, then they might kill the second guy. But when Qikert runs through the middle of the bomb site, he is much more likely to find the trade there, given that he's kind of pushing from a position that not a lot of people are going to actually suspect. So after some technical difficulties this round, it was kind of hard for me to follow this, but there's 20 minutes of technical difficulties, and somehow AVANGAR seemed to forfeit that round. And they're going to run into... I don't actually know what happens. I tried reading what the story was here behind this, but basically, someone was having technical difficulties. It was reported in the middle of the round. By the time the middle of the round was reported, one of the members of AVANGAR already died, so they played the rest of the round out, and now they are going to just suicide themselves into the B bomb site. You're going to see this. It's kind of weird. I've never even actually seen this procedure before, but I kind of want to show it just briefly. So somehow he gets a kill. And then everyone on the team now gets kills in return. And I think that was supposed to just mimic what happened in the other round. It was really strange. I'm not exactly sure who came up with that, but that's it. Yeah, so I think it's because Qikert got a kill there on a certain player. So they wanted to just show for HLTV exactly what happened. Regardless, here we are with a real gun round as Quikert's team is trying to face off against QBF in a 4-on-5. As one of their members get taken out. And Qikert is going to default towards the B side of the map, and in doing so, he's able to get a pick on a underpass player, and then he just instantly falls back in groups with his team. Knowing that they have a 3v2 advantage and already control of the A bomb site, that's definitely going to help. They've decided that they want to go to the A bomb site. He doesn't overextend, he doesn't continue lurking, he just gets the bomb and goes. This is definitely something that's more important to just solidify in your brain at lower levels. That once you have an advantage in T-side rounds, the best option, I'd say 80% of the time, is to just start grouping up with your team and hitting a bomb site together. His teammates already out on the A bomb site made that decision very easy to which one they chose to go to, but yeah, pretty standard procedure there for AVANGAR. So another kind of default looking round as Qikert moves towards B apartments and helps his teammate clear underpass. So we're going to see a little bit of teamwork here as Quikert's going to work up with his teammate Krizen, who's actually pushing pretty far forward by himself. But with the teammates at top mid, this isn't actually as much of a solo play, or Krisen's spacing isn't as bad as it may look from this perspective. So now Qikert is just going to be holding for a potential peek. He finds one, knowing the likelihood of players trying to make a peek like that, given how bad the smoke was actually in window. I think it got blocked by a Molotov, and now he's going to smoke top connector. And again, given the man advantage, his team wants to fall off of their advanced map positioning and just hit a bomb site together. So you can see that they're all grouping up right now. They're, again, following standard T-side Counter-Strike procedures. And this is just kind of nice Counter-Strike. It's kind of how it should be played. Sometimes you leave a lurk towards mid, which isn't a bad idea either, but sometimes teams will linger a little too long in spots where they don't really need to hold the control anymore. And AVANGAR has, after proving themselves at the CIS Major, have shown a good level of just proper Counter-Strike. They know how to play with man advantage in these kind of situations and close these rounds out. So yeah, they're just moving into the bomb site together. Qikert, choosing some interesting positions on his advance, is gonna just help his team trade out, get onto the bomb site. Now it's a 3v2. Pretty unlikely for the Quantum players to try to retake this, and they aren't gonna try to. So I'm gonna skip ahead, fast forward this, but you can see the position that he likes to play is underneath the balcony. Pretty strong post plant position when you have teammates alongside you. It's kind of a good one and done for retakes. Once they find out you're there, it's kind of hard for you to get a second kill unless you're really insanely good. But that would probably have gotten him one kill, and those are the kind of spots you really want to play when you have a man advantage in a retake also. So Vanguard players playing pretty solid Counter-Strike thus far. This is a bit easier to play proper Counter-Strike when QBF is giving up a lot of picks early in the round. But we're going to see Qikert again default towards the B site. He uses his flashes quite quickly this time, and actually one of them almost just saved his life there, as he flashed over the B bomb site to flash Waterfalls, who was posted on car with an op. So Qikert is now going to be walking to underpass. Kind of see what kind of movement he prefers to use in this position. He's just going to be walk peeking everything. Not really the most technical approach. Sometimes you're going to see players jiggle this a little more, but Qikert doesn't feel like that's actually necessary this round. I'm not exactly sure what makes him decide that. Maybe he's just not really a fan of the jiggle. But yeah, it could have been a pretty solid play. So he mollies B apartments, just fake utility a little more, and given the man advantage his team has, they can now put him towards middle. So this is kind of like he's the middle lurker now. He could have gone through underpass as well, but after throwing that molly towards B apartments, he just kind of decides to fall back that way. It's just personal preference, really. This allows him to clear a lot of angles at the same time. Underpass can be a little tricky. Sometimes a guy can be right above you and you can just die for free. So, starting to feel the pressure of his teammates getting killed, he knows he needs to move up forward and potentially just try to help them. And after he notices that the window is not actually shot out, he knows he doesn't really need to cover this area as much. He did also hear that the last CT was towards CT spawn, so that also influences decisions there. But yeah, that made his job a lot easier, as he was able to focus on connector for a good portion of that retake as soon as he found that information out. So notice how he plays with the information and just kind of changes his position accordingly. So this is going to be an anti-eco for AVANGAR. They should be aware of... I don't know why he threw that flash. He didn't even rebuy a nade. That was really weird. I actually don't know why he did that. That seems like a mistake. I think he meant to buy a nade, but missed the bind in time. So, AVANGAR using utility really well here to take map control, not leaving anything up to chance, mauling that underpass area, and then flashing it and peeking with it is a great way to just stop any kind of CT underpass aggression, which frequently comes out on these kind of rounds. And kind of burned himself a lot there, but it probably would have got... it would have got him the kills had there been CTs underneath just waiting. So we felt it was a necessary risk, or a worthwhile risk. So anti-eco, his team is deciding to actually push B apartments. JMQA has a great position here, and with a 5-7 you can actually do quite a bit of damage, but Qikert is just watching out on the balcony area, and JMQA is unfortunately unable to get anything. But Qikert, though, with the rifle, not going to go out first, doesn't want to give an AK away for free, and is just going to kind of support his player by running behind him. Probably not going to be seeing anything else into this round, though, as he just moves through the apartments to underpass. And decides to take his knife out, get a better pistol, and just move up now. Okay, so they're hunting right now. They have quite a bit of money, or at least enough to make do with. All these players are now able to buy. Everyone could have actually died on their team, and they still would have had enough to buy into the upcoming round. They really want to get the AK out of the hands of any of the Quantum players, and Qikert still has plenty of cash to spend, even after this purchase here. I'm actually going to turn this up just a little bit. So far, Vanguard's default has been working just incredibly well for them. No real reason to change the pace or change anything that they're doing. If Quantum Bellator Fire can't really respond to the way that a Vanguard is playing out their default, there's really no reason to switch. And that's something that a lot of IGLs might hurt themselves. It kind of depends on the team you're playing against and the level of Counter-Strike. Against a professional team at the highest tier, you can't really run the same strat multiple times and expect it to work multiple times. But at this level, teams have a harder time adjusting on the CT sides, and if they aren't able to hold something once, it's actually pretty likely that they won't be able to hold it again, unless they're at this level. At the CIS minor, you can kind of hope for that, but in all honesty, it doesn't really happen as much as some of the other minors. I'd say European minor, for example, they definitely would be adjusting a lot and really well. And to go back just a little bit, Qikert got a pretty nice entry or kill on the guy at jungle. The guy was just kind of standing out in the open, though. That was kind of a weird position for him. So, again, just setting up in post-plant positions. One guy on site and one guy towards sandwich is a pretty solid crossfire. What you can do here is this guy can kind of watch, if he is positioned correctly, can kind of watch this area over here, and this sandwich guy can watch over here. So they kind of are watching the same general area, and that's just pretty solid angles. It's not the best crossfire. There are better ones than that for sure, but not a bad one per se. And some more technical issues are going to stall this game even longer. I don't think it's going to restart though, so I don't want to click the round skip button, but definitely going to be at 1000% here. So let's take a little gander at his kit so far. He got an AK-47 Vulcan, pretty nice AK, but I think his gloves and his knife are definitely the real highlight of his kit. Butterfly Slaughter, definitely one of the nicer looking butterfly knives in the game, and some reason they really like just kind of switching their AKs out. Notice that on a few rounds now. I guess with this much time just in the game, you're gonna get a little antsy and just kind of do stuff like that. But they have been throwing guns around quite a bit, even when they didn't need to. All right, game's finally gonna start now. So this round he's getting a little more app-centric. He's actually getting aggressive in his position too. He's smoked this several times before, and finding a really fast pick there on Qikert is going to open things up for his team. And now we're going to see the procedures for when they get a B pick. Because most of the times the picks have been happening towards mid and even towards A. Qikert has found one pick on a gun round thus far towards underpass before they grouped up, but still gives up that B positioning and is going to group towards his team towards the A bomb site. This round they're playing a little slower to group up, and it actually seems to be costing them a little bit. Crizzen there, for example, was towards underpass, kind of an unnecessary position at that point in the round, and he was actually taken out. But his teammate, Buster, is actually lurked all his way through jungle. And now they're going to be entering towards the bomb site. Quikert's the second man in. He's just going to be clearing angles, just hoping to trade if his teammates find any trouble. But yeah, this one connector position is definitely open. And His team actually double peeks him and both get taken out by a FAMAS, so Qikert is quick to find the trade. Haha. So, baiting out the plant there. Should be some suspicion in his mind by now that there could be a flank, and yet that's exactly what he's checking. JMQA, though, was a little too far out for Qikert to catch. However, gets taken out by Jame. So I think one thing to note for how Qikert is playing that can help you as an individual is the way he uses his utility in these kind of plays. Without any real heavy strategy going into the round, he knows that he can use his utility heavily in the default. And using his utility heavily in the default is going to just secure positioning for him and his team. When he mollies under here and flashes under, he's just in such a better position than he would be otherwise to just dry peek the underpass position. And when he uses the smoke towards the balcony and he uses his flashes, he minimizes the risk of him dying early in the rounds. And those are just little things that in a default situation, you clearly, and in a default centric strategy, you clearly want to just use your utility more for just securing your own than for a potential strategy later in the round. You're not even going to have really a strategy later in the round if you die. So better to just be safe than sorry in those kind of positions. Again, just uses double flashbang, really more than I think a lot of players would do, and throws a smoke towards balcony. And he's done so many different plays, given his utility usage, that it's actually getting hard to read him. So Qikert in these defaults is just throwing so many different nades, so much different utility throughout the round, that Quantum Bellator Fire don't know that if he smokes... I mean, the last time he smoked balcony and threw flashes over, he actually peeked into the bomb site. This time he does it and just falls off. Sometimes he does it and just goes to underpass right away. A lot of different options for the B Apartments player that can't really easily be read if you throw nades so liberally as Qikert does. Other times, players in default won't throw their nades because they know there's an exec, and that can really hurt their chances of surviving later into the round also. But Qikert walking up with his team, finally grouping up. They had the man advantage. What are they going to do? They're going to group up and go to a bomb site. Just standard stuff. And now they're all just going to peek this last guy with a pistol as they all spam him. They know he's just any second now. One random bullet should take him out. And it's actually taking kind of a long their time there, but Qikert finds the headshot through the wall. So 8-2 advantage for AVANGAR. Not looking really too good for QBF here. And spoiler alert, AVANGAR do make it to the major, so good chance for them to win here. Qikert finally going somewhere else in the default here is going to be just doing a really puggy flash through the smoke play, and he's able to trade out his teammate Buster. And now they're just going to be doing some standard A hit. So throwing nades on the fly here. This was kind of more of a quick contact split. His other teammates went through mid, and we're looking for positioning there to split through connector. Qikert and the rest of the gang are going to be going through A ramp. Another kind of simple strategy. AVANGAR haven't really done anything too out of the ordinary or innovative even, but they're playing when they have advantages in the default. They're very good at closing those advantages out. They're a team that's just kind of not gonna. It doesn't look so far that they're gonna throw any rounds. When a team plays this consistently and has this kind of just kind of setup or idea ingrained in every single player, they're less likely to throw man advantage rounds. So again, Qikert using flash and a smoke. Actually use both his flashes to take some map control, and knows it seems that the QB fire players are potentially going to be playing behind that smoke, and he actually gets a really good spam off that, gets JMQA down to 25 health. And that's some really good damage to start a round off, for sure. Without any more utility, though, it's likely that his role, if they decide to go B, is going to be more of an entry, and able to really quick flicks back and forth, or is able to take waterfalls down. And that should really give him an interest into this B bomb site. If I were QB Fire, I would actually probably either play way more aggressively as a team or way more passively, because giving all these picks in the default is not really returning in their favor very often. Actually, really hasn't all game. So either do something together or just slow it all down by playing extremely passively. So Qikert is playing a pretty nice spot for a post plant. This is a really good angle to watch the door position. It's not the best for watching. I mean, he can strafe out and watch window, and that collat from Crizzen is probably going to close the round out here. Qikert, though, playing a pretty good post plant spot. I think it's actually probably one of the better spots to play, especially for the bomb planner, because you don't want to just stay on default. There's not really any cover there, but that's kind of a slightly off angle that does provide cover still, that most people, when they are strafing out, they aren't going to jiggle it very often. I mean, some players do, but it's less likely for that to get jiggled than to say behind the pillar. So, not too much actually going on with Qikert there. All he does in the default is dodges a flash, gets a kill, finds an opening, but it's kind of handed to him more than actually something he went out for. So this seems to be one of his favorite plays, is just throwing that smoke there. But again, as I've noted, he doesn't really do the same thing every time he uses utility thus far. So Qikert throws the smoke this time, got a little antsy there, wanted to push forward, but didn't overcommit to it, didn't try to find a pick, knows that he doesn't have to, assuming that the strat will compensate for lack of kills in the default. So he's going to be moving slowly up underpass with a teammate, just going to watch the window position. Again, you can frequently catch window players jumping up here, trying to just jump peek the underpass position, and it's a great way to find an opening pick in the round. So keeping his crosshair placement right where a head would be if they're to jump it pretty well. But James is able to find a pick onto the A bomb site, and now they're just going to be flooding it out as they all run through connector, and Qikert has to spread out, has to fan out with his team, and gets taken out trying to enter the bomb site. So nothing too much more for him in that round, but it looks like his team is again able to close this out, and this is looking to be quite a stomp for the AVANGAR team. So Quikert's actually going out mid on this round. This is a little change that, even though AVANGAR's strategies haven't been all too technical or complex, throwing in a little bit of variance, such as switching around a player in a default, can actually spice up a round quite a bit. And if you've been getting mid control with certain players doing the same thing every round, eventually the CTs are going to catch on, and they're going to try to find counterplays for it. But when Quikert's mid, he might throw nades differently. He might throw a different flashbang than some of his other teammates would normally throw. He might throw this Molotov here that none of his teammates have ever thrown before in another round. And so these are ways that it might be set out, it might not be, but these are ways to change your default without really having to go over the specifics of changing it. You could just switch out the players and it feels completely different for a defender. So Qikert just expends all his utility towards Cat. There was actually a pretty bad, awkward gap in that smoke. That is not why he died, though. The CT actually was already in front of it and was taken out there. So another round goes on the board for QB Fire, and we're actually going to see Qikert. I think he dropped it off for someone. But yep, going back to his favored B apartments, and in doing so, throws his favorite smoke at the edge of that balcony. And as you can see here, Kavik actually just ran through it, calling Quikert's bluff quite a bit here, as he knows that Qikert actually doesn't always play around it. And I mean, there might be some other reasons to it than that, but Kavik felt like, enough is enough. You're going to throw this every round. I don't think you're going to hold it every round. Actually giving his team a lot of map control here, and putting Qikert and his teammate Buster in a pretty sticky situation as they are against a 5-man QB Fire lineup. So Quikert's going to be checking a lot of the normal angles. It's pretty hard to walk into the A bomb site sometimes because of this. If he didn't, I mean, if there was a guy sandwich, he's just dead already. Now, a little bit of teamwork here with Buster, mauling the spot out, potentially going to catch anyone walking, trying to run away. And now Quikert's going to be looking for a pick. Perfect crosshair placement on the CT there. And they're going to actually slow things down just a little more. Qikert has an odd suspicion right now that someone could be flanking, and although he's wrong, it looks like him and Buster are actually having a great chance of closing this out here, as oddly enough, a Molotov was able to kill one of the QB Fire members, and that was just a really impressive 2v5 retake, or 2v5 kind of take of that bomb site. I feel like a lot of that falls on QB Fire making mistakes. For one, the guy that got mollied in CT just died, and the other is well, you couldn't see Buster's point of view there, but he was given some kills there that probably should have been traded out a little earlier. And Quikert's able to close it out with a really nice headshot by the end. All right, so Qikert on Le Pistol. He's gonna buy a decoy. Let's see if he actually uses this any differently than most CTs do, and the answer is an obvious no. He does not use it any differently than most people do. Just throws it. But playing the balcony position, he's gonna find a really sick 3K there. Actually, he's gonna find the 4th as well, and just a really strong position overall. He even got flashed, but with good crosshair placement, Qikert was able to take one player out blind and then 2 more, just keeping it level. And because no one on QB Fire was able to jump through that window, all of them were stuck in the apartments, and Quikert's positioning on the balcony became incredibly powerful as they all just tried to challenge him, running through a very narrow space and not really creating any kind of room for their team to get out onto the bomb site with. They know they have to deal with him on the balcony, but if anyone were to jump out the window, it would have just given them another avenue, another win condition into this round. So Qikert is actually, looks to be the B apartments player, throws a deep smoke towards apps, and is now jump spotting his position. So at this point, I think Qikert knows that they're really towards A. The CTs actually have a ton of control right now, and now he's going to be tasked with a 5v2 retake. So notice how he is choosing to retake this through the middle position instead of CT spawn. It's very likely that T's at this point have a lot of control of CT spawn. Would rather fight through mid. Instead, also his teammates going through mid don't want to separate in a 2v5 situation, as it makes it much more difficult to play off of each other. And it's basically 2 1v5s instead of 1 2v5 when you split up like that. Again, AVANGAR just kind of showing, even on rounds that they lose, that they're showing generally the proper way to play out most situations. They play together, they group up, and they use utility actually pretty well. Even though it may seem like he was just spamming a lot of his nades T-side, he actually was pretty thoughtful with a lot of them and how he played around them. Alright, he's going to be jump spotting here towards B, and he's not really going to see anything for a while. Assume he's just going to be jump spotting this for a while, and decides now to move up towards Catwalk to help out his teammate Buster. Buster's such a kind of a cute name. It's like a rabbit, like what, or maybe a dog. Come here, Buster. Dimasek finding 2 really nice kills here. Now Qikert and Buster are actually deciding to get a little antsy here, and this is one of the few times where I feel like they did not need to make this kind of play, as they have a man advantage. They could just kind of turtle up on the bomb sites, play the 4v3 as it was there, but instead working towards mid. And Qikert with some really nice shots there, or a really nice shot, is able to get a kill, but is taken out by Waterfalls, who is able to clutch it out. Okay. Skip forward this. Gonna be a full save. Actually gonna buy. I actually had enough money. Let me see. Actually had enough money to buy the CZ and armor. So decides to get aggressive towards Palace. Had a, I'd say, half decent spawn. I don't know if it was. I think it actually might have been one of the best spawns possible for Palace. So is gonna look for some control there. And unfortunately, his teammate gets taken out, but the CZ, being the CZ, is able to find 2 pretty incredible just headshots there as they kind of lined up for him. And tries to bring it back for his teammates, but is unable to find anything more with the AK. Could have slowed down, and he probably should have with the AK and played a better retake setup, knowing that he has control of one of the most powerful positions in a retake, the palace area. It's very hard for teams to play good coordinated crossfires when they know that the pressure is looming over them when a player is just stuck in palace and can at any point peek out, try to help out with the teammates, as it does to overlook the entire bomb site. So Qikert now is going to be on a gun round. Looks like his team uses their utility incredibly early, as they have a single flashbang left and actually no diffuse kits either. And is going to be playing by his teammate here, who is, again, Buster. And as he watches this position, his spot in relation to Buster is they're just very close to each other, and they can play with each other quite easily. If there's any kind of uncoordinated push coming out from QB Fire, the AVANGAR players can just home in on a single angle or a single firefight, double up on it, hopefully kill the members of that side, and then push to the other, or push for further control. So I could explain this a little more, but we're going to see how he actually handles the execute coming out here. So oddly enough, the QB Fire players get a little scared to push out, and that's probably going to be their undoing here, as they're going to be walking into one of the toughest crossfires on this Mirage map, trying to go up connector when there's a player on CAD, and definitely going to be their undoing here. Looks like they got a little scared, and that's pretty bad IGLing, I'd say, from the T side there. But what I mean by that, as I was trying to explain earlier, is if they're playing together on the catwalk area, or in this general vicinity, what they could do is, if the T's come out here, they can just both take the fight in that direction. What they can also do is, if the T's are coming from cat, as they are very likely to do in a split, is that the CTs can hopefully kill both cat members and now hold the cat position for a retake. So now the retake can come from easily cat and market, and even maybe underpass too, so that you can have a really complete retake on the bomb site if it is possible. So Qikert has an ump here in this round. Pretty scrimmy round coming out from QB Fire. Looks like they kind of just ran out the A bomb site. Obviously could have missed something as I was going over that, but Qikert is already aware of one player's positioning, jiggles it quite a bit, and he knew the other player was on the bomb site, so says, let's get this over with, let's get on to the next map, and goes for the kill pretty much by himself there. Kind of a throwy play in a sense, but I think he knew that the guy had a CZ or a Deagle at best, so definitely not afraid to flex a little bit in these last rounds. So Qikert just uses all of his nades. I actually not really a big fan of that, but it's not horrible when you can hit shots as he does there. So he gets 2 right off the bat. Let's just watch how this last round closes out, as Buster, behind a smoke, actually doesn't find any kills. Okay, gets 1 at the end. But that's going to be it for Qikert, guys. So I'm going to do a little summary of his sides there. And so T-side uses utility to get map control on his own really well, actually. Uses it really well. He smokes off the balcony, he mollies underpass, he flashes underpass. He has a lot of little plays for himself to set himself up for success in his little area of the map. It's not like his team was calling any execs. I don't think a single exec was called all map. And yet he used all of his utility really well. And in doing so, he's going to be able to create for himself in situations that don't really have an end goal. I think everyone on the AVANGAR team is generally looking for picks, and they play decently aggressively. So Qikert doesn't overexert himself in the default, but he also doesn't take it too lax either. So CT side, though, he just kind of flings his nades everywhere. I don't know if I'm really a fan of that at all. I mean, it worked for him in this situation, but if some of these rounds went on for longer than 30 seconds, then that would be a pretty bad idea, as you don't have any nades for a retake. And retaking is obviously incredibly important. Having at least a couple nades, or just even one flashbang can be all you need to make a bad retake into a good retake. So that could be improved on his part. However, overall, I'd say he has pretty good crosshair placement, pretty decently snappy aim, and yeah, he's just overall pretty skilled player. It shows why he has the rating he does. He's not super aggressive, and this is generally what's been the case for a lot of these players that I've reviewed that have the best ratings on their team. They're kind of more patient with things. They take their time. They just kind of get their own in the round. They aren't overexerting themselves for an objective that they've come up with in their head. They are going to just play the game that they want to play in the timings that they want to play it. So that's going to be it for Qikert, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed my review of the Kazakhstan AVANGAR player. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And continue to give me feedback. I always appreciate it. So thank you, and see you next time, guys. Peace out.